How's everybody doing? Welcome to my channel, The Underrated Darkness. I'm going to do a special. I'll read you about the late great Adam Clayton Powell. As y'all remember, I did a speech. I read a speech about what's in your hands. So I feel it's very appropriate. We're gonna read about the man, the late great Adam Clayton Powell. We're gonna wait for some more people to come in. So I got three more hashtags. I want y'all to check it out. Also, in the description box, I did post 2 songs that I'll be mentioning in a few. So I'll wait for some more people to come in. I'm going to read about the late great Adam Clayton Powell. He had a very interesting life, but at the end, he fought for our people, and we need to recognize that. So we're waiting for some more people to come in, so we can get this going. Again, welcome to my channel, The Underrated Darkness. Excuse me. Chef JT, not just chefing in the kitchen. I be chefing of information, the grinder, and the underrated one. There it is. So we wait for some more people to come in. So I read about the great Adam Clayton Powell. Did a lot for New York, but also for black people in this country. He's been in Congress for nearly 30 years, passed quite a few bills for our people. And so we're waiting for some more people to come in and join us and everything. So just come right on in. Greatly appreciated. And I'll post 2 songs that I'll be mentioning a few. Very appropriate. You need to listen to it. Handpick the songs so it goes right with the live that I'm doing today with the family. Foot Soldier, thanks for coming. Very much appreciated. Thanks for coming. How you feel today, Queen? Yeah, let's roll in, y'all. Let's roll in. About the late great Adam Clayton Powell, one of my heroes. One of my heroes. Yes. I'm glad you're doing okay, Foot Soldier. Thanks for coming. Very much appreciated. I post 2 songs in the description box that I will mention in a few. Just waiting for some more people to come in. Everything. So, and I got 3 more hashtags. That's what you see in the description. I got quite a few hashtags, so I think I'm going to stop at there for a while. So. So right now, that if y'all want to pick one out that best fit, of the lives in the near future, I'll let you know. I'm okay. I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right so far. I'm doing all right. Thanks for asking. But don't worry about it. I'm going to keep it. It's going to be good. It's going to be very good. So waiting for some more people to come through. Read about the late great Adam Clayton Powell. How's the weather where you at, Foot Soldier? Cause I know it's clear out. I know it was kind of dark this morning. Tony Smith, thanks for coming. Appreciate that, brother. Appreciate that. Gonna read about the late great Adam Clayton Powell. Thanks for coming, brother. Got a good one for y'all. Got a good one. And also, a few lines before I did a live about his one of his speeches, "What's in Your Hands." I want y'all to check that out. That's in the archives. Put a comment on it, and I got 2 songs that is in the description box. I want you to check it out. That I will say that I will tell y'all in a few. I just want to wait for some more people to come through. So we read about this great man, the late great Adam Clay Powell. Right? So go read about him. Thank you, Tony. Yeah, please. I miss you. Yeah, keep on sharing that out for me, please. Very much appreciate it and everything. So it's a great man. And he passed a lot of bills, fam. I should post the story about him, but I wasn't even thinking. But I post 2 songs, both by the late great Billy Paul. And matter of fact, when I get back all the way, I'm going on underrated music talk. I'm gonna do a story about Billy Paul. Yeah, I'm gonna do a story about Billy Paul. Yeah, I will show respect to him. So wait for some more people to come in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Very much appreciate it. Yeah, it's a great one. I'm very excited about. I talked about him briefly in the past. So, but I'm very excited. I'm very excited to read about him. Like I said, one of my heroes. And Tony Smith, how you doing, brother? How you been doing? I'm glad. Hope everything is okay with you and the family. Also for Soldier, you and your family. How's the weather out where you at, Tony Smith? Brother, how's the weather out there? Where you at? Oh yeah, it's probably cold out there, right? But I'm gonna read about this great man. Every time I think about it, I get goosebumps. I mean, like I say goosebumps, but it's full of joy, man. He been through a lot, been through a lot. And also I'm gonna add little stuff in it too that y'all didn't even know, that y'all ain't gonna know. I'm telling you. So we're waiting for some more people to come in. We'll give my maybe like a minute and a half or 2, then we're gonna get this going. How'd that sound to y'all? How'd that sound to you? Press 1, y'all can hear me. All peace could be coming in a minute. Oh, the realist. Thanks for coming. Peace to you, Queen. Excellent live as always. Thanks for keeping up the fight for our people. Yeah, I know it's supposed to rain over in VA too. Yeah. So welcome to here. Let's keep it up, Queen. Keep it up. Thanks for coming. We'll read about the Clayton Powell Jr. And also thank you. Thanks, press 1. Also I post, matter of fact, like I said right now, I'll post 2 songs. The first one, both of them is by the late great Billy Paul. He was down with the Philadelphia Soul back in the 70s. Rash the Trees. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming. I post two songs in the description box. The first one is Billy Paul, 1972, Brown Baby. If that sounds familiar, me and Mrs. Jones, that came from that LP, 360 Degrees of Billy Paul. That's back in 70. That really came back in 71, but this song came out in 72. It's Brown Baby. I want y'all to listen to that. That's from the LP 360 Degrees of Billy Paul. That's 72. The second one, let's have a baby. I know this. Let's have a baby. Yeah, that's the same LP. That's the name of the LP. Let's have a baby. It's back in 75. The name of that song is People's Power. I want y'all to listen to that. So I'm gonna be mentioning that throughout the series. Well, I'm going to keep on going. Press 1 if y'all can hear me. I appreciate Dr. Wills. I appreciate you announced that. I appreciate that. If y'all can hear me, press 1. I'm going to read right now because I ain't gonna wait. I'm gonna let that thing. So I gotta do it. The people just come in. They just have to catch it on whatever process. That's all it is. I'm not gonna be waiting. Keep you going. So hit that one for me quick if y'all can hear me. Read about this great man. And I think the realist, I think you're gonna love him. All right, cool. All right. Again, thanks for coming to my channel. The Underrated Darkness, the one only the underrated one. Also the grinder. Also Chef JT. Not the chef in the kitchen. I be chef in the information. Respect my existence. Also, I forgot. Also, I got 3 more hashtags that I put in. Respect my existence. Hashtag respect my existence. The second one, no more closed, selfish hands. The third one, more unselfish hands for our people. Let me read it again. The first one is respect my existence. Second one, hashtag respect my existence. Second hashtag, no more closed, selfish hands. Second one, more unselfish hands for our people. So that's it. So here we go. All right. Thanks for coming. The story of the late great Adam Clayton Powell. Here it goes. Adam Clayton Powell Jr. was born on November 29th, 1908. Passed away April 4th, 1972. Was a Baptist pastor and an American politician who represented Harlem neighborhood in New York City. Not originally from New York. In the United States House of Representatives from 1945 until 1971. He was the first person of African American descent to elect from New York to Congress. That's right, he is the first. All right, he is the first family. All right. Re-elected to nearly 3 decades, Powell became a powerful national politician of the Democratic Party, served as a national spokesman of the civil rights and social issues. I'm gonna stop right there. He's one of the early ones. Excuse me. He always said about Martin Luther King and stuff like that, but they never really talk about him and Thurgood Marshall and others. I need to throw that in, and I will bring that. I will talk about that when I go along. He also urged United States presidents to support emerging nations of Africa, Asia, as they gain independence after colonialism. In 1961, after 16 years in the House, Powell became chairman of the Education and Labor Board Committee, the most powerful position held in African American in Congress. As a chairman, he supported the passage of the important social and civil rights legislation under President John F. Kennedy and Lyndon B. Johnson. Following allegations of corruption in 1967, Powell was exalted from his seat by Democratic representation elected of the, I don't know what is scratch this 90th United States Congress. United States Congress, but he was re-elected and regained the seat in the 1969 ruling by Supreme Court of the United States, Powell versus McCormick. Later on, McCormick, the white congressman, got caught in some scandal back in the mid 70s. I need to put that in. He lost his seat in 1970 by Charles Ringgold, a long-time congressman, plus he retired a few years ago. All right. Powell was born in 1908 in New Haven, Connecticut, the second child and only son of Adam Clay Powell Sr. and Mattie Buster Schaefer, both poor in Virginia and West Virginia, respectively. His sister Blanche was 10 years old. His parents were mixed race, African American and European ancestry, and according to his father, American Indian on his mother's side. In his autobiography, Adam Clay Powell said that his mother had partial German ancestry. Then their ancestry was classified mulatto in 19th century census. Powell's paternal grandmother century has been free parcels of color generations before the Civil War. By 1908, Parson has become a prominent Baptist minister that later on Adam Clay Powell Jr. became. You throw that in. Served as a pastor in Philadelphia, as a lead pastor in the Baptist Church in New Haven. Powell Sr. has worked his way out of poverty and through the Wayland Cemetery, a historic black college, a postgraduate student at Yale University and Virginia Theological Cemetery Seminary. In the year of his son's birth in New Haven, Powell Sr. was called a pastor at a prominent Abyssinian Baptist Church in Harlem, the neighborhood in New York City. And I have to let you know that is the largest Baptist church in the country at that time. Neighborhood of New York City. He led the church for decades through major expansion, including fundraising for and the construction of the addition accommodating increased members of the congregation during the years of the Great Migration. As many African Americans moved from the south, that congregation grew to a community of 10,000 persons. Due to his father's achievements, Powell grew up in a wealthy household in New York City. Because of his mixed European ancestry, Adam was born with hazel eyes, fair skin, and blonde hair, such as he could pass for white. However, he did not play that racial advocate until college. He attended Townsend Harris High School, then studied at City College at Upstate as a freshman. The four other African American students at Colgate at the time were athletes. Wow. For a time, Powell briefly passed as white, using his appearance to escape racial structure at college. The other black students were dismayed to discover what he had done. Encouraged by his father to become minister, Powell became more serious about his studies at Colgate when he earned a bachelor's degree in 1930. After returning to New York, Powell began to graduate work in 1931 earned a MA in religious education from Columbia University. He became a member of the Alpha Phi, a fraternity started by and for blacks. So he was the early ones at that fraternity family. Later appearing trying to bolster his black identity, Powell would say his paternal grandparents were born into slavery. However, his paternal grandmother, Sally Dunning, was at least the third generation of free people of color and her family. In the 1860 census, she is listed as a free mulatto, as were her mother, grandmother, and siblings. Sally never identified her father, Adam Clayton Powell Sr., born in 1865. She apparently had named her son after her older Anna Dunn, listed on the 1860 census as a farmer in the head of the household. Wow. In 1867, Sally Dunn married Anthony Bush, a Morito freedman, and the family members were listed as some named Dummy in 1870 census. The family charged a subname to Powell when they moved to Kewanee, West Virginia, part of a new life there. According to Charles B. Hamilton, a 1990 biography of Howard Anthony Bush, decided to take the name Powell as a new identity. This is how they were recorded in the 1880 census. Adam Jr., mother, Maida Buster Schaefer, was also mixed race with African American and German ancestry. Her parents had been slaves in Virginia, were free after the American Civil War. Powell parents married in West Virginia where they met. Numerous freedmen has migrated there in the late 19th century for work. After ordination, Powell began to assist his father with charity service at the church as a preacher. He greatly increased the value of meals and clothing provided to the needy and began learning more about the lives of the working class and poor in Harlem. During the Great Depression in the 1930s, Powell, a handsome and charismatic figure, became a prominent civil rights leader in Harlem. Now I'm gonna stop right there. If we notice about, every time they want to tell us about civil rights, they always talk about the civil rights in the 50s. They never talk about back in the late 20s and the early 30s when you got Adam Clayton Powell and the late great Vernon Johns. Vernon Johns was part of this too, but that's like he was in the South. So what I read about Vernon Johns, so y'all can look for that. I need to throw that in. Okay? I need to throw that in. It's very important. So they played a prominent role at the beginning of the civil rights of this country that this country failed to say. But I'm going to say it. They must study. Know what I'm talking about. Check it out. All right? During the Great Depression, Anthony Powell, a handsome, charismatic figure, after he became a prominent civil rights leader in Harlem. He recounted the experience in 1964 interview with Robert Page One for the book Who Speaks Negro. He developed a formidable public following in the community through his crusade for jobs and afford housing. As chairman of the Coordinating Committee for Employment, Powell used numerous methods of community organizing to begin to bring part political pressure on major businesses, open doors for Black employees as professional levels. He organized mass meetings, wage strikes, and public campaigns to force companies, utilities, and Harlem Hospital, which operates in the community, to hire Black workers as skill levels higher than those positions to which had formerly been restricted by former discrimination, informed by former discrimination. For instance, during the 1939 New York World Fair, Powell organized a picket line at the fair office of the Empire State Building. As a result, the fair hired more Black employees, increased their numbers from 200 to 732. Wow. In 1941, Powell led a bus boycott in Harlem. And I'm going to stop right there. Now, they also talk about decades ago that the first boycott was right in Montgomery, Alabama. No, the first one was that Powell, he organized it, and other ones too. So that was the first boycott in the United States, not the one in Montgomery, Alabama. Now, 14, 15 years later, that's when Montgomery. But this was the first. We need to throw that in too, because they ain't bet you know about that. In 1941, Powell led a bus boycott in Harlem, which blacks constitute majority of passengers, but held a few of the jobs. The transit authority hired 200 black workers and set precedent for more. Powell also led a fight to have drugstores operating in Harlem hired black pharmacists. He encouraged local residents to shop only where blacks was also hired to work. Mass action is the most force on earth. Powell once said, as long as I'm within the law, it's not wrong. If the law is wrong, change the law. That he been doing that. That he would been doing that throughout his life in Congress. Throw that in. In 1938, Powell succeeded his father as pastor of Epstein Baptist Church. In 1942, he founded People Voice, a newspaper. That's right, it was a black newspaper. People Voice that it's operating in Harlem, but throughout the in the 40s, it was circles throughout the country too. You need to throw that in because I ain't gonna tell you that either. Designed for its progressive African American audience and its educated and enlightened readers on everything from local gatherings and events to U.S. civil rights issues to the political and economic struggle of the people of Africa. Reported and writers for the paper includes influential African Americans such as Powell himself, Powell's sister-in-law and actress Freedom Washington, and journalist Marvin Cooks. He also served as a mouthpiece for his view after he was elected to Congress in 1944. Other people's led the paper, but finally closed in 1948. After being accused of communist connections. That's when they talking about the red list, and that's the start of it. I did a story about that too. In 1941, with the aid of New York City use of the single transferable vote, Powell was elected to the New York City Council. And listen to this, family. As the city's first black council member, he received 65,736 votes, third best total among 6 successful council candidates. Trisha, how you doing? Welcome. Thanks for coming. Appreciate you. Congress in 1944, Powell ran for the United States Congress on a platform of civil rights for African Americans, support for fair employment practice, and a ban on poll tax and lynching. Required poll tax for vote registration and vote was a device used by southern states in a constitution adopted from 1890 to 1908 to disfranchise more blacks and many poor whites in order to exclude them from politics. Poll taxes in the United States, together with the social and economic intimidation of Jim Crow laws, were maintained in the South until the 1960s, keep blacks excluded from politics and political powerlessness. Powell was elected as Democrat to represent Congress district that includes Harlem. He was the first black congressman elected from New York State. Let me read it again. He was the first black congressman elected from New York State. As historian Charles B. Hampton wrote in his 1992 political biography of Powell, he was a person in the 1940s where he speak out that would be different. Many Negroes was angry of that Northern liberal would get up on the floor of Congress and challenge the segregationists. So, Powell certainly promised to do that. In the 1940s and the 1950s, he was indeed virtually alone. And precise because of that, he was exceptionally crucial. In many instances during those early times, if he did not speak out, the issue would not have been raised. For example, he could or would dare to challenge Congressman Winkle of Mississippi. And let me stop there. When I was listening, how you doing? When I was listening to the story of the Negro Adam Powell, the congressman in Mississippi, every time he did not want to sit next to Adam Clayton Powell, but every time Adam Clayton Powell wants to sit next to him, he gets up. So it goes to show in the Democratic Party, it was racist, and they got to be able to call them liberals. And at that time, they're not going to tell you this. They called them Dixie Democrats. Not Southern. Most of them Southern called them Dixie Democrats, but they was racist. Okay, that they're not going to tell you that either. And some of them are still like that today. You throw that in. Mississippi on the House floor in the 1940s by using the word girl. He certainly did not change Winkle's mind or behavior, but he gave solace to millions who belonged for a little military defiance. As one of the two black congressmen, the other was William Levi Dorsey. Until 1955, Powell challenged the informal ban of black representation using capital faculties previously reserved by white members. He took black constitution to dine with him, and the white-only house restaurant. He clashed with the many other segregationists from the South of his party since the turn of the 20th century. Southern Democrats had command of one-party system, and they had effectively disfranchised more black voted since the turn of the century and excluded them from the political system through barriers to vote registration and voting. And let me stop right there. Now you see what the Republicans has been doing. They've been doing this for years. But I need to say this: the Democrats was doing it too. And at the time, the Republicans called the party of Lincoln. But the Republicans was down with it too. But at that time, the Democrats were spearhead this too. You need to throw it at it. Had command one-party system, had effectively disfranchised more blacks of voting since the turn of the century, excluded from the political system through barriers to vote registration and voting. The white congressmen and senators control all the seats allocated for the total population in the southern states, had established seniority and command of many important committee chairs in the House of Senate, and they've been doing this for a long time until Adam Clayton Powell came in 1944. You can throw that in. And Papa, thanks for coming. Appreciate that. Powell worked closely with Clarence Mitchell Jr., representative of the National Association for Advance of Colored People, standing NAACP, legendary, in Washington, D.C., to try gain justice in federal program biography Hampton described NWCP as a quarterback that threw the ball to Powell, who, to his credit, was more than happy to catch and run with it. He developed a strategy known as the Power Method. On bill after bill that proposed federal expenditures, Powell would offer his constitutional amendment requiring that federal funds is denied to any jurisdiction that maintains segregation. Liberals would be embarrassed. Southern politicians agreed angered. This principle would later become integrated into Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Powell also willing to act independently. In 1956, he broke the party ranks to support Dwight Eisenhower for re-election, saying the civil rights plank in the Democratic Party platform was too weak. In 1958, he survived by determined effort by Tammany Hall, Democratic Party machine, in New York to oust him in the primary election. In 1960, Powell, hearing of planning civil rights marches at the Democratic Convention, which could embarrass the party of candidates, threatened of accused Reverend Martin Luther King of having homosexual relationship of banning Russia, unless the machine canceled Russia. One of the King's political advisors was an openly gay man. King agreed to cancel planned events to Russian resigned from Southern Christian Leadership Conference. Global work. Powell also paid attention to the issues developing nations of Africa and Asia, making trips overseas. He urged presidential policymakers to pay attention. Let's get that out the way. Sorry. Hold on, fam. Hold on. Okay. Making trips overseas, he urged presidential policymakers to pay attention to nations seeking independence from colonial powers and support aid to them. During the Cold War, many of them sought neutralization between the United States and the Soviet Union. He made speeches on the House floor to celebrate the anniversaries of the independence of nations such as Ghana, Indonesia, and Suriname. In 1955, against the State Department's advice, Powell attended the Asian African Conference in Badrun, Indonesia. As an observer, he made positive international impression of public address that balanced his concern of his nation-based relations problems with spirit defense of the United States as a whole against communist criticisms. Powell returned to the United States to a warm bipartisan reception for his performance, and he was invited to meet President Dwight Eisenhower. That was big because Dwight Eisenhower, he was a Republican. He was a president, later died in 1969. You can throw that in. With his influence, Powell suggests in the State Department that the currency man of competing with the Soviet Union in the realm of fine arts such as international sympathy, orchestra with ballet company tours was ineffective. Instead, he advised that the United States should focus on popular arts such as sponsoring international tours of famous jazz musicians, which could draw attention to the generous American art form and feature musicians, who who often perform in mixed race bands. The State Department approved the idea. First, such as Dizzy Gillespie proved to be an outstanding success aboard a prompt, similarly popular tour feature. Hold on, fellas. Hold on, fellas. Check it out. Okay, I'm back. The State Department approved the idea. First, as Disco proved to be outstanding success aboard the prompt. Similar to probably most tours features other musicians, committee chairman, and legislation. This is the time that that the congressman they try to really the shadow assassin was good. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate that. Committee chairman and legislation. In 1961, after 15 years in Congress, Powell advanced into chairman of the powerful United States House Committee of Education and Labor. In this position, he president over federal social programs for minimum wage and Medicaid established later under Johnson. Yeah, he started a lot. He wrote a lot of bills for us as people and other people reap the benefits of it. And to this day, we only got some benefits. We need to throw that in. Established later under Johnson, he expanded the minimum wage to include retail workers and workers who pay for women. He supported education and training for the nursing education and vocational training. He led legislation for standard for wages for work hours as well for aides for elementary and secondary education in schools, librarians. That's what I'm talking about. Powell Committee proved extremely effective in advancing enacting major parts of President Kennedy Frontier and President Johnson Giant Society social programs of the war on poverty. A successful reporting to Congress 49 pieces of bedrock legislation as President Johnson put in and May 18, 1966. Later, congratulated Powell for his 5th anniversary of his chairmanship. Impressive. Powell was instrumental in passing legislation that made lynching a federal crime as well as bills that desegregated public schools. He challenged the Southern practice of charging black a poll tax to vote. A poll tax for federal elections was prohibited by the 24th Amendment passed in 1964. Voter registration and electoral practice was not charged subsequently in most of the South until after passage of the Voting Rights of 1965, which provide a federal oversight of voter registration and elections and enforcement of the Constitution's right to vote in some areas where discrimination was severe, such as Mississippi. It took years African American to register and to vote in numbers relative by proportion in the population, but they had since maintained a high rate of registration and voting. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for keep on stick with me. Political controversy. In the mid-1960s, Powell was increasingly being criticized by mismanaged his committee budget, taking trips aboard of public expenses, mismanaged his committee. Also, let me say this, main event Mark, what's good? Oh, I forgot to put this in before I continue to look on it. Okay. And I'm going to mention the two songs that I put together in the description box in a few minutes. It ain't that long, we finished. By the mid-1965, increasing criticizing his committee budget, taking trips aboard the political expense by missing meetings at the committee. Like again, said it was other congressmen was doing it, and they, well, I tell you the rest in a few minutes. When under scrutiny by the press of other members of Congress for personal conduct, he has taken two young women at government expense with him on an overseas travel. He responded, "I wish to state very emphatically that I will always do what every other congressman and committee chairman has done and is doing it will do." So they was like, it was double standard family, racist double standard. Opponents led criticism to his district where he refused to pay a 1963 slander judgment made him subject to arrest. He also spent increasing amount of time in Florida. In January 1967, the House Democratic Caucus stripped Powell of his committee chair. I'm gonna stop right there. Now, during this time, if y'all remember, well, I'm gonna get to that. I'll get to that in a few. Let me read this up. Okay. In January 1967, House Democrats stripped Powell of his committee chairman. The full House refused to send him until completion of the investigation by the Judiciary Committee. Powell urged his support to keep the faith baby while his investigation was underway. On March 1st, the House voted 307 to 116 to exclude him. Powell said, "On this day of March, in my opinion, is the end of the United States of America as the land of the free and home of the brave." You ain't lying about that. Powell won a special election for the vacancy caused by his exclusion, but he did not take his seat, and he was filed in separate suit. He sued Powell first McCormick to retain his seat. In November 1968, Powell was re-elected. Let me read again. In November 1968, Powell was re-elected. On January 3rd, 1969, he was seated as a member of the 91st Congress, but he was fined $25,000 and denied seniority. Now, they didn't put that in. They denied seniority for him like 2.5 years before that. We need to throw that in. In June 1969, Powell versus McCormick, the Supreme Court of the United States ruled that the House had acted unconstitutionally when they was exclude Powell as he has been duly elected by his constituents. Powell increasingly absentee was noted constitutional voice contribute. In 1972, his defeat by the Democratic primary, his re-election to his seat by Charles B. Rango, like I said, a long-time congressman. Also in Harlem, he retired a few years ago. Powell failed to garnish enough signatures to get in the November ballot and the independent and Rankin won, and following general elections. In the fall of 1970, Powell moved to his retreat in Bremen in the Bahamas. That's one of the islands, part of the Bahamas. Also resigned as a minister at the Epstein Baptist Church. Marriage and family. In 1933, Powell married Isabel Washington in 1908 to 2007. I mean, I guess that's out there. You know, she born 1908, she passed in 2007. An African American singer and nightclub entertainer like Powell, she was mixed race. She was the sister of actress Freddie Washington. Powell adopted Washington's son Preston from her first marriage. After their divorce in 1945, Powell married the singer Hazel Scott. I did a story about Hazel Scott on my underrated music talk. Jazz pianist, very underrated. They had a son named Adam Clayton Powell III. In the early 20th century, Adam Clayton Powell became the vice provost for globalization at the University of Southern California. Right. Powell divorced again, and in 1960, married Yvette Flores Diego from Puerto Rico. They had a son who was named Adam Clayton Powell Diego, using the mother's surname as his second surname according to his Hispanic tradition. In 1980, this son changed his name to Adam Clayton Powell IV, dropping Diego from his name. Then he moved to mainland of the United States from Puerto Rico to attend Howard University. Adam Clayton Powell IV, known as AC Powell IV, was elected to New York City Council in 1981 in a special election in which he served 2 terms. He also elected as a New York State Assemblyman, East Harlem. For 3 terms, he had a son named Adam Clayton Powell V. In 1994, beginning 2010, Adam Clayton Powell, 6 unsexually challenged becoming 4th. Becoming challenged to be ranking for the Democratic nomination for his father, former congressional district. Final scandal. In 1967, Congressional Committee subpoenaed Yvette Diego, the former 3rd wife of Powell and the mother Anna Clayton Powell report, will investigate potential theft of state funds related to her having been on Powell's junior payroll, but doing no work. Yvette Diego admitted to the committee that she had been on Congress payroll off of former husband Adam Clayton Powell from 1961 to 1967, although she had moved back to Puerto Rico in 1961. Wow. As reported by Time magazine, Yvette Diego had continued living in Puerto Rico and performed no work at all, and yet kept on the payroll. Her salary was increased to $20,558, and she was paid until January 1970 when she was exposed and fined. Death. In April 1972, Powell became gravely ill and was flown to Miami Hospital from his home in Bremen. Died on April 4th, like I said, 1972, at the age of 63 at Nice. Let me see. Hold on. It's up to 100. Can you hear me now? Okay. Let me read it again. In April 1972, Powell became gravely ill and was flown to Miami Hospital from his home in Bremen. He died there on April 4th, 1972, at the age of 63 from acute prostate prostatitis, according to contemporary newspaper accounts. After his funeral at the Epstein Baptist Church in Harlem, his son Adam III poured his ashes from the plane over the wars of Benny. Hold on. You still can't hear me? I don't know what's wrong with okay. If anybody can hear me, press 1. George Frazier, thanks for coming. Appreciate that. I don't know. Death. In April 1972, Powell became gravely ill with lung. Legacy. 7th Avenue, North of Central through Harlem has been renamed as Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Boulevard. One of the landmarks along this street is Adam Clayton Powell Jr. State Office Building, renamed to Powell in 1983. Scrapbook Boxing, thanks for coming. Peace to you, brother. And the ones who came in late, you can catch on the rewind. In addition to New York schools was named after him, PS 153, 1750 Amsterdam Avenue, and the middle school is IS 172 Adam Clayton Powell Jr. School of Social Justice at 509 West 129th Street. It closed this 2009 and 2011. New Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Padilla Academy was opened in Chicago Shore neighborhood. Powell was a subject of the 2002 cable television Keep the Faith Baby, starring Harry Lennox as Powell and Vanessa as his second white jazz pianist. The film debut February. Okay, that's it. Okay. Sorry about that, Amy. She couldn't hear me. I don't know why. But I'm gonna before this, I got, let me see. Okay. Hey, I want to, because I was trying to work on the camera. I don't know what's going on. So I got 3 more hashtags. First hashtag respects my existence. The first one, no more closed, selfish hands. Third hashtag, more unselfish hands for our people. And that's also, it's in the description box. All right, and also I'll post 2 songs. The first song also is in the description box. Billy Paul, 1972, Brown Baby is from the LP 360 Degrees of Billy Paul. That's the same LP, Me and Mrs. Jones. That's the same LP it came from too. But I want you to listen to that Brown Baby that came from the same LP. So that's on the description box. That's 1972. Also from Billy Paul, from LP Let's Have a Baby back in 75. The song is People's Power. I want y'all to listen to that. This is power. It's a dear man. All right, I want you to listen to that, please. All right. Okay, now I'm going to add a little bit on it because they say this. Now due to his boycott back in the late 30s and early 40s, in Harlem, right? They was not hiring black women to work at these stores. So what happened was, as a minister at the time, before he got elected to city council, right? He had his congregation, and they was walking from water to water, from the east side of 125th Street to the west side at the end of 125th Street, and they did this for a while. So actually, black women, because black women was not getting hired. See, this is the thing that people fail to understand. There's some black women was working, but they was not getting hired. Also, black women. Okay, so thanks for coming back in. They was not, even black men wasn't getting hired, but black men was not getting hired. And I want the black people to understand that. I want the queens to understand it. Y'all was not getting hired. It was actually white men, even white women, and other nationalities was turning y'all down too. And Adam, the late great Adam Clay Potts, minister at the time, he was walking up and down. That's how he was developing his base, his base in Harlem, and other people was catching on back in the late 30s and the early 40s. And that was the first. And then during the time, he also assembled the first boycott in the United States. That also I mentioned it, but I want to mention again. And also, he wrote quite a few laws that they made these Dixie Democrats to act on what the Constitution said, because you got to understand, these Dixie Democrats for a long time, even before Adam Clay Powell, they was getting their way. They was not honoring the Constitution. And we already know Republicans back then, but these are Dixie Democrats. They were Southern. They were Southern, so they was excluding a lot of us from voting. They were disfranchising our vote, and also they were disfranchising, the businesses that we want to run, even to work in. And it's not just happening in the South, and I want to repeat this. It was not just happening in the South, it happened all around the country, even in the northern states. They was practicing this too. That they're not going to tell you. They're not going to tell you about that. But I did my reading and all that. So, and also, while I was reading, Adam Clay Powell was ahead of these committees in Congress of trying times that our voice was not being mentioned. He also was one of those that was pushing black pride. That even their constituents of his age, they was not doing it because they were scared. So when he had like them other ones like 30, 40 years before that, and I'm talking about in the 60s now, he was not identified. He was identified the radical black, us as a people. He identified with that, and they protected him too. They rallied with the late great Adam Clay Powell. What's up, Lois? How you doing? Now we ain't gonna talk about that. I understand what you're saying, but we're gonna stick to Adam Clay Powell. We're gonna stick to Adam Clay Powell. We ain't gonna talk about that. I understand what you're saying, but we're gonna talk about Adam Clay, what he did. But so we gotta put some respect in his name. And also, I did a live about one of his speeches, "What's in Your Hands." You need to check that out too. Tell him, beloved, thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. Well, I think I run my mouth too much. So the ones who came in late, y'all always catch on the rewind. Whatever I end this, it's gonna take about like 30 to 45 minutes, because stream yards takes a long time to process and everything. And again, I'm gonna read this before I be out. Got 3 more hashtags. Yeah, but I get what you're saying, love. I understand that, but I want to concentrate on this. You know what I'm saying? It's just I understand what you're saying, but I want to concentrate on this. All right. 3 more hashtags. I got 3 more new hashtags. The first one is respect my existence. The second hashtag, no more close, selfish hands. And the last one, hashtag more unselfish hands for our people. And again, the one who just came in late, I post also 2 more songs in the description box. Billy Paul from the LP 360 Degrees of Billy Paul, Brown Baby. That's in the description. You can hear that. It's in the description box. Also, Billy Paul, the L from the LP, Let's Have a Baby, People's Power. So I post both of them in there. And your will be enlightened in that. So I read a lot about Adam Clayton Powell, the late Greek Adam Clayton Powell. All right, so so what we could learn today from the late great Adam Clayton Powell is continue to fight, and through trials and tribulations, he fought for us, and he part of the ancestry. We gotta respect that. And then he's not just fought for Harlem for their rights, but he fought for all of our rights as African descent for our people. So I salute to the brother. I salute to the one Adam Clayton Powell. Now he lived lavishly, yes. He made some mistakes, yes. But the one thing we can never say, he was out there for our people. And there are some, when he was dying, they turned his back on him. Was saying that, yeah, he's not even there. But they failed to understand how Congress, how they treated him. Now, the ones they was complaining about what he was doing, later on in the mid-70s, the same congressmen, they got caught up a lot of scandal that they had to be forced out. That's in the mid-70s. A few years later. Thank you. Appreciate that information, man. Appreciate that. Like I said, if you want to catch the rewind about the story of Adam Clayton Powell, feel free. Well, I'm gonna go at it again. Before I close this out, I discovered 3 more hashtags. The first one, respect my existence. That's the first one. Number 2, hashtag no more close selfish hands. Number 3, the last hashtag, more unselfish hands for our people. Also, in the description box, I post 2 songs. The first one by Billy Paul from the LP 360 Degrees of Billy Paul, Brown Baby. Now, information, man, you know me a little bit. That's the same LP. Me and Mrs. Jones. That's the same LP it comes from. But this one I posted, the song is Brown Baby. I want y'all to hear that. That's light. All right. The last one, Billy Paul from the LP, Let's Have a Baby. And that song is People's Power. I want y'all to I want y'all to listen to that. Drop a comment or 2. We very much appreciate it. And let's be enlightened. Let's learn from this great man, the late great Adam Clayton Powell. He was born and raised, he was born in New Haven, Connecticut, but he came to Harlem. He was younger, and he was there for the fight for our people. He was in Congress almost 30 years. And he was the most powerful black man in the 50s and the 60s in Congress. He passed quite a few amendments for our people. He helped shape America. He's one of the forefronts of Black pride. He did not take on this old mindset, we gotta get along. No, he was all about our agenda has to be first, because he sees the disfranchised. So when he become at first New York councilman, He was still pushing. He was a minister at the time. Then after that, they would district the seat just for Harlem. And he took it around with it. And despite he lived lavishly, he never stopped fighting for our people. And I salute that. And I wish that quite a few of us would take on that mindset. No matter what, stand up and be counted. Fight for our people, fight for our agenda, fight for our rights. So that's all I got for you. So I hope that you take a lot. Oh yeah, information, man, and the rest of y'all. And good evening, beloved. If you have time, I also did a live about his speech, the late great Adam Clay Powell, What's in Your Hands. I want you to check it out. Be inspired. All right, so thanks again. Shout out to the LDBC. Shout out to everybody. All right.
Sprinkle it out.
Yeah, I hear that. So be inspired, y'all. That's all I know. That's what we gotta be inspired. Let's keep on fighting. The war's not over. So on that note, let's go. Let's do it together. Us as Black African descent. Again, salute to you, the late great Adam Clay Powell. And salute to the family that came through. Thank you so much to be patient with me, to hear me about this great man. And on the next one, this one is Ghost. Have a good day. This one is Ghost.